It's been over a year since we sailed out of Port Everglades, but then last time we were here, we updated on how well prepared the port was for COVID and how COVID friendly the port was with all the implementation of the different precautions they took. Well, cruising is about to return. The restart is upon us, and we are here and very, very excited at Port Everglades to interview our good friend, the Chief Executive and Port Director, Jonathan Daniels. Jonathan, how are you?
Doing great. Certainly much better than we were months ago.
It seems like a year ago we were here, but we're back, and things have drastically changed for the better.
It has. Taking those precautions and going through those protocols, what we've done during this time is really tried to perfect them. We've taken them from one terminal. They've grown out, and now we're 2.5 weeks away from Celebrity Edge being here and going out on the first revenue cruise.
And the pent-up demand is just phenomenal. People are just so excited to get back on a cruise ship.
It is, and if you look outside the windows today, it's absolutely amazing. We actually look like a cruise port.
There you go.
3 vessels at the docks and three laying up outside in our anchorage.
And before you know it, all the berths will be filled with cruise ships again. Once again, it'll be the port.
It will, and it's been great for staff during the last several weeks as we've been getting updates as we've been working with the lines, understanding what their needs are. Certainly moving forward, I think We're getting excited again, and in many respects, I think the industry, many of us took the industry for granted. The ships were always going to come, the passengers were going to be here. Now, ultimately, we get the opportunity to look back on it and say, you know what, we had to work to get here, and it's something I think that we're very excited about moving forward.
Exciting news for Celebrity Cruises. The Celebrity Edge is scheduled to cruise from Port Everglades on June 26th.
June 26th.
How are preparations going for that?
Actually going very well. About a week from now, we will do their stress test in Terminal 25. We'll have anywhere from 200 to 500 people come in. They'll actually go into the terminal from the parking to running through the protocols and procedures, all the screening that would be necessary. So they'll come in, mingle around for a little while, and make sure that what they have prescribed in the memorandum of agreement with the port and the lines, ultimately approved by CDC, making sure that those protocols are in place and that they're actually working. If they need to tweak, they can tweak. But it's exciting just to get them in here in that regard.
Can you walk us through what the embarkation will look like for passengers in your terminals?
I think what you're looking at is something that was a little bit on the horizon. I think a lot of the lines were looking at some touchless opportunities for them, basically scan quickly, get you in. I think the days of 500 people coming in at one fell swoop, kind of congregating and beginning the party before going on the vessel, I think those days are a little bit gone. At least during this initial stage, I think you're looking at something where you're coming in, utilizing the check-in maybe the day before, the drop-off. I think the appointment systems certainly will be in place, so you're only getting a few people in at a time, trickling rather than the massive groups that are going to be coming in. Depends on the line, but I've talked with one of them that will be almost 100% touchless. You come up to the kiosk, basically everything is scanned. As long as you have your credit card in there, as long as your passport is in there, basically the next time you see them, they're going to their stateroom, grabbing their keys in the stateroom, and they're ready to begin cruising. I think you'll see a little bit of a variation associated with that. But I think very similar to what you've seen in the airline industry in many respects. They've begun to everything from sanitization to social distancing that's necessary, the cleaning pre and post as well. But I think also as well, CDC, they have responded to many of the wishes of the industry. I remember the first time, probably about a month and a half ago, when they came out with some of their protocols, and they were indicating that you could not bring people through the same gangway and through the passenger loading bridge within 12 hours.
You had to stagger it. I remember.
I remember we got that guidance in the morning. That afternoon, I was actually on a flight, and I watched 150 people get off a plane. 15 minutes later, I was going through the same the same gangway. So it was interesting. I think they've listened, and I think you're going to see a protocol and procedure plan that is very. It is proactive, it's not reactive, but saying that, I think a significant part of what you're seeing in all the MOAs right now actually have to do with response. I think we're kidding ourselves if we think that there will not be a case of COVID-19 on board these vessels. But ultimately, how do they respond when that happens? We will have a tabletop exercise next week with our friends from Celebrity. and Royal Caribbean Group to go through what it looks like for a response. There's a lot of pre-planning that's going on, and that's all part of the process.
Sure.
I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, and a lot of those protocols are going to continue even after kind of COVID goes away and we continue and grow sailing.
Right. There's been an effort to vaccinate those who work in and around the port. Can you tell us a little bit how that's going, and is that in full swing at the moment?
It is in full swing. We've worked with the state of Florida, the Department of Emergency Management. There's a vendor that they hired that we actually have an agreement with, and out of Terminal 4, Cruise Terminal 4. They're set up right now, so for anybody who happens to be on the port site, as well as those from outside, have the opportunity to come in and use and utilize CT4. That being said, as well, what we do is we have actually groups of 4 or 5 medical professionals that will actually put everything in packages and work with the Seafarers House and be transported to not only the cruise ships, but as well as the cargo ships. So it's an all-encompassing vaccination program we're very proud to be with. In fact, a couple weeks ago, we had a couple of celebrity vessels that were in here, and over a 2-day period, they did 1,175 vaccinations. So it is thanks to the state of Florida for what they're doing to help the ports and help the lines make sure that the crews are vaccinated.
Can you tell us something about the new construction and renovations going on at the port at the moment?
Sure. It's going to be awfully nice to get our $120 million Heron parking garage finally not only up and going, but actually working. That was completed primarily for Terminals 2 and Terminal 4 in our Northport area. To say it's state-of-the-art, it's interesting when you say you have a state-of-the-art parking garage, but everything from its touchless parking management system to the utilization of solar panels, the majority of the energy is actually through alternative energy. In addition to that, you have a walkway, and depending on who you are, it either looks like the Death Star or some type of very modern appendage that comes out from the top of the parking garage. It actually goes over the top of Terminal 4 and actually then brings you down right next to Terminal 2 where primarily Princess is. So it's really a great facility for us, and it's part of that convention center hotel complex that's being developed by the county.
There's talk about Disney bringing a ship here to home port at Port Everglades. What would that mean for the port?
You know, I think when you take a look between Royal Caribbean Group and Carnival Corporation, we have extremely strong cruise partners. But within that, we're always looking at diversification. And so as part of an amendment process that we went through with Carnival in the late part of 2020 and early 2021, we were able to take back Cruise Terminal 4, which was one of their primary berth locations. So we got the berth back, we got the terminal back, and then within that, once people were aware, we received a lot of calls on, well, we understand that you have a new terminal open. What do you think about that? Disney came to us, they started the conversations. We're very, very interested in that, and then ultimately sent us a letter. I think for us, and we kind of joke about it a little bit, but it's an opportunity for us to add a little bit more magic to our cruise portfolio.
There you go.
But when you look at that, bringing in a brand like Disney to match with Carnival, with Holland America, Princess, with Celebrity, and with Royal, we think it really adds something very, very unique. We're looking for a good, strong home port partner. And though we're actively involved in negotiations, it would be a long-term deal. Certainly financially it would be good, but the opportunity as well for Disney to join the other brands that we have here. And it really provides Broward County with really a great mix. A little bit different from some of the other lines in that certainly with Disney, you talk about the family orientation associated with that. But we do feel that it would be a very good addition. We're going to know in the next few months as we finalize negotiations, hopefully take something back to the commission, and then within the next few years see Disney in here on a home port basis.
Perfect. It's been almost a year now that you've been port director here at Port Everglades. What has the year been like? I know what it's been like, but what do you hope to accomplish in the upcoming year?
Yeah, I think certainly when you take a look at it, and a lot of people questioned when I came down here in June, do you really want to take over an operation that is so focused on cruise? But when you really take a look at the port itself, we're so diversified from our energy operations with petroleum, our cargo operations, and of course cruise. What I have found here, and which is surprising because I tend to be someone who ends up being fairly aggressive with our business development and our business attraction, we've had to manage our way through this. While the pandemic has been difficult, it actually has provided us something as an agency and as an industry to focus on. There's a crisis every single day. So within that, we knew what we were going to be facing day in and day out. But what we also did was we took advantage of it when we could. We accelerated some of our construction projects. We modified and amended one of our cruise terminal and cruise berth agreements and ended up getting that terminal back in our hands. So while we've had to become very creative and kind of work our way through it, we think that we're going to come out of this in the next year to 2 years stronger than we ever thought. Again, if we're able to certainly land Disney, that's going to be a feather in our cap, and it's going to add to the cruise portfolio. We've added 3 new services within our cargo operations. One of them is domestic, Houston to Port Everglades down to Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. So we haven't stopped, whether it's through our construction or through our business development. Also, it's been a great opportunity for us to take a look internally and strategically at a new economic development strategic business plan, look at a reorganization process that we've been able to step through slowly and methodically rather than trying to push it through when we weren't ready. So I think we're going to come out of this in a much better situation. But for me, on a personal and professional basis, I've had to step back a little bit, and we've managed our way through it rather than really pushing and being very aggressive.
When do you expect cruise activity to return to pre-pandemic levels at the port and everything returns to a form of normalcy here?
We think there will be some fits and starts between now and the end of our fiscal year at the end of September. Certainly, we feel that we're going to see a larger celebrity mix and a royal mix. It's going to be nice to see Oasis of the Seas coming in for the first time. She was supposed to be in the Eastern Med for a period of time and running out of Israel, certainly because of the issues that are going on over there. We weren't supposed to see her until November. We're going to get her by the end of June, beginning of July, so that's awfully nice to see. So we think we will see a little bit more of a robust summer program than we typically see. And then starting October 1st into our next fiscal year, we should see it grow pretty significantly. But still, what we're seeing, which is on sale right now online, and what our business development group is seeing, is probably a little bit more than half of what we would typically see during the year. So we don't think in 2022 that we're going to see it rebound to the levels where it was and has been in the past. So I think we're looking probably at a couple of years from being able to see it get back to the point where we're close to 1,000 cruise ship calls on an annual basis.
Any final thoughts for our viewers at Porthole?
It's been interesting in that you take a look at the cruise ports. You take a look at the competition that typically happens between Port Everglades and Port Canaveral, Port Miami, even getting up to what Eric Green's doing up in Jacksport, as well as what Paul Anderson's doing over at Tampa. We tend to, when we get in a room, in the past, we're very collegial and very cordial about that, but it's a very competitive business. We're always looking at the biggest ship. We're always looking at the next ship and the next line to come in. But never have I seen an industry come together, even in a situation where we are just such competitors. We've really come together. I'll talk with Juan, I'll talk with John Murray, and we'll compare notes. Hey, what are you hearing? What are you not hearing? How do we do this, and how do we work it together? We've seen the Carnival flag, which is going to go more toward Miami and Port Canaveral. At the same time, we're seeing some of the other brands that are coming up here. So we hope that continues. I think it will. You may see a little bit of a softer, gentler, though still a very competitive industry. And ultimately, all of us feel that we just want to get back into service and make sure that we're doing that in a healthy and a safe way for the industry.
Well, I applaud you on the steps you've taken and the accomplishments here at the port in the short time you were here. And next time we're together, we'll see a bevy of cruise ships around us surrounding the port.
We certainly look forward to that. It's exciting, certainly for myself, for the staff, and for the community, is to see that sense of normalcy in what is the most visual component of our operation, and that, of course, is cruise.
Jonathan Daniels, Port Director, Port Everglades, thank you so much. I'm Bill Pano for Porthole Cruise Magazine, and thanks for joining us.